So we will just to recollect what we were discussing last week before continuing. Swami is talking about the unavailability of karma. Everyone who is born in this world, who has a body, is forced or under the compulsion to do action. And Swami says even if one is a jnani, they have to engage in action, if not for anything else, to set an example for everyone else to follow. Because if people do not do their allotted part, the world will not revolve the way it should. So that's what Swami is saying. And I think we came across Swami mentioning King Janaka and King Ashwapathi. And I think I had taken it upon myself to do some research and come back. So I will just speak a little bit of Ashwapathi and then we can continue on. As you all know, King Janaka was a king, was renowned to be a jnani. So King Ashwapathi is the father of Savitri. I think everyone knows about Savitri and Satyavan. Savitri asked Yama to return her husband so that he can live and he doesn't die prematurely. So that was a boon. So she's famed for having won over death itself. Okay. So Ashwapati is the father of Savitri. The story goes that he was a king, he ruled a vast kingdom, but he did not have any children. So what he did was he took up sadhana, of a rigorous kind, and he's supposed to have left the kingdom and gone to the forest and done penance and prayers to Savitri, goddess Savitri, and for 18 years, not 1 year, for 18 years, and goddess Savitri is supposed to have appeared in front of him and blessed him. And when he asked for a progeny, basically she said she herself will be born. So that's how Ashwapati begot Savitri as a daughter. But during this penance, he reached very high heights of spiritual progress, and he's supposed to have become jnani, who was not attached to the world itself. However, he came back and he ruled the kingdom, discharging the duties what a king should do. And his level of detachment can be seen because when Savitri, who was sent by him to find a groom, because no one came forward, so Savitri went looking for a suitable person to marry, and she found Satyavan, who was living in the jungle with his parents and serving them, who were blind. She was impressed by that person, and she said, "This is the person I'm going to marry." And when she came back and told the father, apparently Sage Narada had come to see Ashwapati. And when the king asked him, what do you say? And um, Narada has said, this person will live only for 1 more year. But Savitri said, I have already decided so I will not marry anyone else. So the king said, okay, you go and marry. So you can see the level of detachment of a king like that. And there's not much written because the stories are in only a couple of Puranas, but Sri Aurobindo in his Savit book, which he wrote, it's a big work, a very monumental work which he did called Savitri, in which he has devoted a few chapters for Ashwapathi, and he calls it the Yoga of Ashwabati and the great heights of spiritual progress he attained. So with those words, I think I was researching what Swami has said about Ashwapathi in other discourses. I could not come across any. So that's the reality. So we can continue on from where we left off. Sai Ram, sister. Sai Ram.
Almost everyone in the world is bound by the rule of karma. But people are so immersed in ignorance that they are unaware of their own moral or intellectual status and of the secrets of karma. Such can be saved only by being inspired by the example of the great. That is why the jnani has to be engaged in activity. He has to remove the sloth and delusion of ordinary men. So all have to obey the rule of karma without any deviation. Does the aeroplane stay on above, denouncing the earth below? Those who have earned the right to travel in it cannot fly towards it and into it. Therefore, to take them in, it has to come down at the places where they gather by previous arrangements and then soar high into the sky with them. So too, though the jnani has to desire or urge to do karma, he comes down into the region of karma and helps those who would not have otherwise put their talents into proper use. Even great personages like Janaka perform dharma karmas with this view. Ashwapathi too did likewise, to save the rest from sheer idleness or wickedness.
So this was what we discussed, I think, briefly last year. Maybe we spent some time discussing this slide. If anyone has something to say or share, please do so. Else we can move on. So I think we can go on, sister.
Then, in reply to another question of Arjuna, Krishna said, Kama, desire, is the root cause of all evil. And he elaborated on its nature, cause, and cure. He who is bound by the Dehada Atma Buddhi, the false idea that he is just this body and nothing more, can never hope to conquer karma. One must acquire the Brahma Atma Buddhi, the awareness that he is just Brahman and nothing less, in order to be sure of victory. All acts must be performed in the spirit of dedication to the Lord. The universe must be identified with the form of Vishnu, the universal transcendent. In this chapter, three important subjects have been clarified. Everyone has to do karma, for if this is not done, the world will come to naught. The karma of the great is ideal that the rest have to keep in view. Third, almost all the world are bound by the obligation of karma. Krishna most graciously made Arjuna imbibe these lessons. Not satisfied with this, Krishna told him that jnana is the final goal and gain of karma. Jnana is the treasure that is won by man's efforts to purify the mind and to earn the grace of God. Jnana not merely grants Ananda, but it is itself the seat of Ananda. Thus, he initiated him into Jnana Marga, the path of Jnana.
Thank you, sister. So Swami is introducing two terms. One is Dehatma Buddhi and the other one is Brahmatma Buddhi. That is recognizing that that we are not the Atman is not the Deha, but it is Brahman. So that's what Swami was talking about. Saying karma is the root of evil, so that's another point. So those are some, and of course, as you can see, Swami has summarized the three principles of karma for us to follow. So I will stop here. If anyone has something to say, please do so.
Sairam brother, in that very last paragraph, one particular clause, it attracted me. Wisdom not merely grants bliss, but is itself the seat of bliss. What it really meant by this one, so the wisdom, it wouldn't grant any bliss, but in order to enjoy the bliss, or that the bliss it's in the wisdom, but we have to uncover it, or that's what it means, or something else?
So maybe I will just say what I understand, and then others can also chime in. I think what Swami is saying is, because sometimes we think Jnana will, if we attain Jnana, then Jnana will take us to Ananda. But I think what Swami is saying is, if you think you have attained Jnana, you have attained bliss also. Jnana, Swami is equating that state of Jnana as a state of bliss also. I think that's what I understand. But I will ask others to share what they think they understand.
Sairam, I think in this, what Sister was reading, isn't this Swami saying that wisdom doesn't guarantee the bliss? If that is the case, I was thinking maybe wisdom will just provide us the ability to discriminate, but it's not guaranteed the bliss. We have to do what we need to do. To do our karma. Just because you have wisdom is it's not. You have to still do your karma to get that the final step of our. That's what I think. And also in another line, right? And to get rid of the desires, we need to not to have our consciousness should not be on the body, but only when we have the conscious of the Atma, that's when even the motivation will come to get rid of the desires. Because as long as we think we are the body, I mean, as much as we try our best to get rid of the desires, something or other will come. I think those are the two things I was just contemplating, hearing those lines. Thank you, Sarah.
So I will read the Telugu part, brother. Just maybe you can listen. Antatito Manaka Krishna Paramatma Sakala Karmalaku Paramavadi Jnanamaniyu Antakarana Malinyamunu Pogottu Konutaku Ishwaranugrahamunaku Kuda Charamadasha Jnanameyani Jnanamu Ananda Sadhaname Kaka ఆనంద ధామము కూడా అని స్పష్టము చేసి జ్ఞాన మార్గము ప్రారంభించెను. So that is the Telugu.
I think what does it mean? I think Jnanam would help us to get close. I think they are in a better position than those who doesn't have those Jnanam, maybe. Yes. That's so. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to share any thought, please?
So, Sairam, brother. So, my understanding is once you reach to the divine consciousness, that is called, that kind of knowledge. Once you experience the Atma, that level, you have the wisdom. So you have, so that means you are experiencing the Atma. So you so after that, yes, nothing there. So you are what is the Atma mean? The permanent bliss is there. So wisdom means you have experiencing the Sat Chit Anand. That's another way I can tell. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Sairam, I'm just going back one paragraph, the second one. I know we discussed this, I think last week. Just wanted to understand a bit more. I understand the first point, like everyone has to do karma. And the third one is the all in the world bound by obligation to karma. But the second one, is this referring to the karma of the jnanis? Can you explain a little bit? The second point, the karma of the great.
I think that's what Swami is saying. We should follow the example set by such great devotees. I think that's my understanding, sister. Others, anyone else would like to share anything?
So Sairam, the reason I asked the question in that particular sentence, so it says jnana is not merely grants. So that's why I asked the question about whether as a wisdom person, I may have the wisdom, but I may not experiencing the ananda, but maybe the jnana is the seat of ananda. Ananda is sitting in the in jnana, but unless otherwise I enjoy the ananda, it may not be useful, or some sort of understanding I got it, or maybe when Brother Prasad indicated, that's the way my thought process went. I may have the jnanam, but I may not enjoy the ananda, because all the jnana people, that's why even we have defined various paths and jnana and devotion. Simply a jnana state, it wouldn't make us to enjoy the blissness. I believe previously we also studied about that. Maybe just a wisdom or jnanam, it wouldn't help us. When the devotion also, it comes in hand in hand, then only it will make more effective or something like that. That was my reason for that question. But when I hear the Telugu the version, but I didn't understand fully, but that sounded little bit different meaning than what it is here.
Is the Telugu part for this sentence which you are talking about, sister, is Jnanamu Ananda. Sorry, one second. I will. Swami says, Jnanamu Ananda Sadhaname Kaka Ananda Dhanama Kuda. Means it is not only the path of sadhana to attain Ananda, it is also the place where Ananda is. Ananda Dhama means it's the place of Ananda, the home of Ananda. Okay, so that's what he says. Because the reality is, Swami says, Jnana means, from what I understand, knowing that we are divine. That is Jnana. Knowing that we are divine is Ananda. And Swami says, one who knows, God is, who Brahman is, that person himself is Brahman. Only through that total experience you can know. So the final state of jnana is nothing but equivalent to one being divine, which by itself would mean that one is in bliss. So that's what I understand, because the path of sadhana itself, the path itself is the goal. The path itself is the goal. Is that's way I understand. I'll stop here. Anyone others can.
I think I
chime.
got little more clarity right now, after you explained. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sai Ram, this is Akku Auntie. I totally agree with Aruno, because the wisdom you have to use your intellect. Can you hear me? Sai Ram, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes, sister.
You have to use your intellect and understand that you are also divine. You came from God. Only two, the God and your soul is the only real aspect. All the rest is Maya. So if you get this higher knowledge, then you will become more happier when you are doing all the sadhanas towards gaining that goal of reunion with God. So this is the Ananda seat of Ananda is the wisdom. Thank you, Saira.
Because Sister Anandi should know by her, the name itself, she should. Sorry. Anyway, I will ask anyone else would like to.
So Sairam, brother, I like to add to the point. The beginning, once we read something or once we learning, we are getting that knowledge. So because then knowledge, we are inputting some spiritual knowledge, atmic knowledge is going to become intellect. Once we use the intellect and the properly, then when we achieve the Atma, then we are getting the jnana. Jnana is the permanent seat, whatever you said. Then that is the permanent one. That time you will enjoy the bliss. That is another word we can say, wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Sairam, yeah, I think I agree what you explained, brother Aru.
Yes.
What he's saying, I think having jnanam would be happier, but jnana is also needed to go to the final destination. So it's kind of jnana is acting as a catalyst as well as the means to. It's a right way to, because if you don't have jnanam, we can't even think of attaining the bliss, right? First of all, you have to get the jnana. It's one of the part of the state little happier, but that is the right way to go through to get to the bliss. It's kind of, as you said, it's a path as well as the destination.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I think that's another two sentences also which caught my attention. The first paragraph, the last two sentences. Swami says, all acts must be performed in the spirit of dedication to the Lord, and the universe must be identified with the form of Vishnu, the universal transcendent. So even when we are acting, Swami wants us to keep those two in mind also, that every act should be dedicated to the Lord, and also we should see the world as a form of the Lord, and then do the action. So those two also Swami is highlighting for us to pay attention to.
It's kind of everything is divine. I mean, whatever we do should do it in the right context, I guess.
Yes.
So way back, one study circle, I asked you, brother, why it states the Vishnu, we have to meditate on Vishnu. The answer is here, but you also explained at the time, it's not really the Vishnu deity, the universal transcendent unity. So, and also the Bhaja Govindam also, they explained nicely about the form of Vishnu. It's really the universal transcendent. It's not a particular form of God. It's really universal transcendent. Now I got the where it came from, that sort of explanation. Thank you.
Saira. So I think if there's nothing else forthcoming, maybe we'll go to the next slide, Sister Narmada.
This subject is carried on till the 5th chapter. Jnana Yoga shines as a precious jewel amidst the teachings of Bhagavad Gita Sastra. Krishna declared, Nahi Janana Sadrisam Pavitra Nahi Jnanena Sadrisam Pavitra Meha Vidyate. Nothing as holy as Jnana is known here. Even later, in the 7th chapter, he has said, Jnana Tvatvame Matam. I consider the Jnani as myself. The excellence of Jnana Yoga has been similarly extolled in many other contexts, also in the Gita. That is why Jnana Yoga is believed to be the most fruitful of all spiritual sadhanas. All sastras find their fulfillment in the jnana alone. Dhyanam, meditation, is just the contemplation of the jnana swarupa, which is one's real nature. All are in you, you are in all. You have to get this conviction fixed in your consciousness by means of analysis, discrimination, and intellectual exploration. You have to isolate and dismiss from the consciousness of the impressions of the senses, the mind, the intelligence, etc. These have nothing to do with the Atma, which you really are. The Atma is unaffected by any subject or object. Even if the senses, mind, intelligence, etc., are inactive, and inactivity will not affect the Atma. To know the Atma as such an entity, unaffected and unattached, is the secret of Jnana.
Thank you, Sister. So Swami, so now he has taken us from karma to jnana, and he's telling that that's the holiest, pavitram, among anything that we see. So I will stop here. If anyone else has something to say, please go ahead.
So, Sairam brother, the main important point is here. Once we get jnana, the mind, intellect, senses is not attached to the Atma, because Atma is not bound to those one. There's a different entity. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam.
Brother Sai Ram, I
Yes.
just wanted to clarify one thing, brother. In the previous paragraph, it says that for the Jnana Yoga, you have to earn the grace of God. But any yoga, don't you think we have to earn the grace of God? And when we come to this, is the most fruitful all out of all sadhanas. What is making as a most fruitful? What is the difference? What is the I'm trying to understand why is more fruitful, which is making the difference, which is giving the um, more towards the yoga, jnana yoga. Okay, I don't know.
See I think the sentence you're referring to is Jnana is the treasure that is won by man's efforts to purify the
The
mind
mind,
and to earn the grace of God. And I think
yes,
that's what you're asking. So you're
yes,
saying
yes.
everything else also gives us
Everything
what
else
shouldn't the
also you
other
have to earn
other
a grace of
sadhana
God.
should.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, that's the question, and I will turn it to everyone to share your thoughts, please. And I think sister's question is twofold. One is, why is Swami saying to earn the grace of God, jnana is essential? Number one. Number two, then why is Swami saying it is the holiest when there are other paths? And I think these are the two questions sister is posing. So can't the other parts of either karma or devotion do not earn the grace of God, or are they not equal to jnana? I think this is what she's asking. So I will open it up for anyone to share your thoughts, please.
Sairam, I think I just talking loud here. I'm just thinking for anyone to understand Swami's teachings, we have to have that little, at least some sort of jnanam to understand them, because we may be listening every day, but to apply those things, we have to contemplate and introspect on those things, right? So for that, that itself is a little quality, or maybe qualification that we need to have. Maybe when Swami calling, we need to have Swami as a grace to get to be gnani, maybe in that context. But unless you have that blessings, you won't even be able to introspect the right way, because we may have an interest, little bit Swamish push also should be there in a contextual way. I'm just trying to, maybe that's what Swami was saying. Because then other sadhanas like service and all those things, it's just following the selflessly and doing it. But to listen to Swami's teachings and then introspect, you need a little extra qualification from within. Qualifications not mean studies and all those things, but little extra push from ourselves. That is what I see as a qualification here, like a self-interest. Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Anyone
Sai
else?
Ram.
Yes, Sai Ram auntie.
Sai Ram, this is Saku auntie.
Yes.
At the beginning, Krishna was speaking about devotion, bhakti yoga. Then slowly he brought us to karma yoga, explained to us we have to do karma, and secondly, we have to look up to the jnanis who have shown us the way. All these things he taught us, and now he is bringing to the jnana yoga, where the wisdom comes to play. So I think step by step, Baba has brought us to jnana yoga. All three yogas needed to reach our destination. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister.
Sairam, I
And
think
to auntie. Please go ahead, brother Vardhan.
Sairam, I think jnana is the state that you realized everything, and then you could understand easily everything. The path is clear to reach that thing. Anything you wanted to go on that particular way. So whenever you get the jnana and you have the bliss, so you would be, you have no confuse after that. I think you know where you are going. Sairam, that's my opinion. Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to?
So, Sairam, brother. So even the Krishna, Arjuna is not yet understood whatever the Krishna is saying. Same thing, we are in the same boat. We are not satisfied all these answers. Confusion is there. When Arjuna is going to realize, that's the time we're going to understand properly. So Krishna is saying, you have too many paths to achieve the goal, the liberation. The main path is Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga, you don't need to know anything about the spiritual side. You do the karma. If you don't have that desire for the action of the fruit of the action, you're going to merge with me. But Jnana Yoga is the royal path. Then once you achieve the Jnana Yoga, your Atma is going to Atma is going to be on your intellect, in your body, yourself, and everything. Is going to guide you inwardly or outwardly. So for that, anything you need the God's blessing and grace. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
Saira,
Yes.
Saira, no. The second paragraph, the last few sentences, the Atma is unaffected by any subject or object, even if the senses, mind, intelligence, etc. are inactive, that inactivity will not affect the Atma. What does that mean? The Atma is unaffected by any subject or object.
Okay, and so no, yes, Sister Anandi, you want to go ahead?
Thank you. And I just thought about a small example, really. In a relay, the running sport, or in a sport, it's a relay case, and the why we always have the very strong person in closer to the destination, even though all 4 or 5 should be having the strength and everything, but we always put the first person and the last person as the most strong persons in that sport. Because when you are closer to the destination, there may be so many obstacles or distractions. You have to win those the hurdles in order to reach the destination. That's why even the karma yoga or bhakti yoga or all other yogas are fell in the spiritual the path. This is the most higher the higher path, because the person, in order to get to the state, that person has to that person has to pass all these hurdles, and also has to more strength to reach the destination. That's why Swami said you have to have the God's grace to reach to that, closer to that one. Also, that person has to have the more that person would have a very determined, all kind of attributes we have learned we should be having to reach the destination. That person should have that sort of person to reach the destination. That's why Swami said that. Already other brothers nicely explained that you have to have that sort of personality to reach the destination. And when you pass all these ones, maybe the God's grace should be more on this particular time period. They're closer to the destination. That's why I believe, in my understanding, I think why Swami or even Lord Krishna said this is the most higher path. In order to get that one, you have to have the God's grace. Without having God's grace, you cannot reach that. That's sort of, I just thought this simple example, and I just wanted to share. Thank you, Sai.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Anyone else has, there are,
Sai Ramana.
yes, Sai Ram Satish.
Just a couple of thoughts. One is without God's will, not even a blade of grass will move. So that is on one end. So God's will, God's grace, definitely it is needed for anything to happen in life. That is one bit of thinking. The other end is if we take a vast ocean expanse that is formless, based on the love of the devotee, that formless shape in the ocean takes a form, and we use a template, whether it is Rama, Krishna, Swami, that kind of a thing. But by itself, the ocean is, in terms of formless, attributeless, that kind of a thing. So for a jnani, he or she sees the energy behind the matter. Any object we take in this universe, it has the matter, the shape and name, and there is an energy behind it. That's how we talk even about the energy levels within us and so on. So while the jnani sees the ocean in terms of its formless, attributeless state, and looking more at the energy, I'm putting it again as energy and the formless aspect, because the ultimate stage is that to go beyond form, to go beyond name, object or subject, what Auntie also mentioned. And because anything that has object or subject, a name and a form, again the senses perceive, it is limited. If it is beyond the name, object, subject, then it goes beyond the realm of the mind. So a jnani dwells beyond the realm of the mind on that formless, attributeless part of their sadhana, whatever they are doing. So nevertheless, karma and bhakti also leads to jnana at the end of the day, because by doing nishkama karma or having that pure love and devotion to God, that ultimate stage is there. That is what Swami also talks about, the different children whom the mother caters to. For the one on her lap, her complete involvement is needed. But the one who has grown up doesn't need the help of the mother so much. The jnani can stand on his own level. Of course, whether it is the jnani or the mother, they are one and the same, but the jnani is at a level where they are able to do it at their own level, while the baby at the lap of the mother needs that support and think to be nourished to a level where they can take care of themselves. So in that context, the highest level of getting to that part of being in the formless, of being going beyond the mind, going beyond the senses to the level of the Atman, that takes a higher pedestal. But at the end of the day, whether it is karma, bhakti or jnana, it leads to the Lord. But going with this line of discussion, it places jnana at a higher pedestal because it's more about looking beyond the object, beyond the subject, and seeing the ultimate presence of the divinity. the Vishnu Tattvam, which is the ever expansive. So it is to go beyond, because only when we go beyond what we see with our physical eyes do we see the really the completeness, the wholeness of what it is, to go beyond what we see with our senses. I would close with that. Thank you so much, Saira.
Thank you, Brother Satish. That explains my question.
And Sairam, if I build on what Brother said, is I was just thinking, when we talk about Meera, Radha, Gopikas, though we might say they were in Bhakti Yoga, but they had jnana already where they were seeing Lord Krishna in everything, in every way. They don't need a physical form of Lord Krishna to be present there. So I'm just thinking, and Brother was explaining, the jnana was already there. It's just outwardly we could see they were in Bhakti Yoga, right? Same the example of Mother Teresa. She was seeing Jesus in everybody, every destitute she was serving. So she had that jnana, the presence of Lord in everywhere, every human being. So it looks like the jnana is the essence, the base of whatever yoga will take, but that has to be present in a simple terms.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone else has something to say? Maybe I will just share some, because I think others have already answered, but I thought I will just add to what others have said. If you take the Bhakti Marga, Swami says the devotees of 4 kinds: Arti, Artharthi, Jignasu, Jnani. So Jnani is a devotee also, because they are doing the best. They are the best devotees. And if you take in the previous slide, Swami says Janaka was a Jnani, Ashwapathi was a Jnani, but they engaged in action. So when you engage in action, you should be acting like a Jnani. So in action also one should be a Jnani. In devotion also one should be a Jnani. And then Swami says Jnana is what gives you everything. And I think Swami in Sandhya Nivarani Statistically, I think if you all remember, Swami says the flower, the unripe fruit, and the fruit, all are the different stages of its growth. And Swami says when finally that fruit detaches itself, when it's fully ripe, it will automatically detach. Vairagya will show up. And he says each of this is flower, the karma, then the unripe fruit, and then he says the ripe fruit is jnana. That's also another example Swami has given. So ultimately, the best devotee is a jnani. The best karma yogi is also a jnani. So if they can follow the path of jnana also, they will also reach the same. And this is what I sort of understand from whatever everyone is saying, and recollecting what we have read and discussed before. And I think so, Auntie Manohari, you got the answer you said.
Yes.
So I think that's good.
Sairam, brother, I like to add to the point Auntie's one. The Atma is unaffected by any subject or object. If we, Baba said, if we take even the worms in the excrete, I'm there. So everywhere I'm there. So it doesn't affect me, the object and subject. Thank you, Sairam.
Anyone else would like to say anything? I think Sitaram was about to say something, but I think.
Oh, Sairam, brother. Sorry, there is some issue with my mic. It goes on and off.
Okay.
So, because so many analogies have been discussed, there is one more analogy also which Swami gave. I'm going to confuse, but just bear with me. So, I think this happened. This was told by Brother Deepak Anand back in our moral class we used to have in the college. So I think once after discourse, I think the students were staying with Swami. They this opportunity to ask Swami after a discourse that he's so confused that which is the best marga, because Swami has told number of discourses highlighting that this marga is the best, karma marga is the best, jnana marga is the best. It will take you through the flight to God, and karma marga is like road, and the other one is bhakti marga is like the bus, right? So many things have been told in discourses. Swami, which is the best one? So during that time, it was in Purnachandra Auditorium. That's what he mentioned. And there is some construction going on. And Swami was just casually looking that side. And one person is climbing up a ladder to fix something in Purnachandra Auditorium. Swami looks at him and says, do you look at that ladder? That ladder, what are the components of this ladder? There are two railings on either side, and small steps, small wooden pieces which connects both the railings on the either side of it. So bhakti and karma are like the either side, the railings, the two longest, what do I call it? The wooden sticks. And in between, as you climb up, these small steps are jnana. So as you go forward, without leaving either of these sides, that is bhakti and karma, you'll start progressing in jnana marga automatically. If even one of the sides of this ladder falls off, the jnana is not going to sustain, and ladder is no more a ladder. So this is how all three are equally important, and that is how jnana is more important than the other two, because you are trying to climb up from ground to the higher level, that is from your jiva to the brahma tattva. I thought I'll add this. I don't know if it is adding one more analogy, but this is always stuck with me, and that's how I respect all these three margas. This analogy always stuck with me. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sitaram. I think even if it's confusion, it's good confusion.
It's very nice. It's not now confirming. It's not three different markers, right? Everything is kind of linked to each other, and the jnana marka allows you to progress. But bhakti marka is supposed to be there. Karma marka also supposed to be there. And jnana marka only will purify the mind. With the other two, the purification comes with the jnana marka. So obviously we will get the grace of God. Okay, good. Thank you so much.
It's a very good discussion. Good questions and good answers. So it's very nice.
Sairam. I was just thinking one more way trying to explain.
Yes,
I was just thinking for us, karma marga and jnana marga, right? I was just thinking this way. If you take a karma marga as a service, Swami says we have to do the service selflessly. That means doing the action the right way. If you take that as a consider that doing the action in the right way, and the jnana marga is a rule doing the right thing. To do the right thing, you need to have that little knowledge to understand what is right, what is wrong, right? But whatever you do, doing it right is a service. So that's maybe for doing the right thing, which is jnana way. That means you already putting your efforts to understand what is the right thing to do, and that because you're taking one step, Swami is taking 100 steps from the, as Swami says, because you're putting your efforts to do the right thing, following the jnana marga, Swami's blessings would be there. In the previous lines we read that I'll get more blessings if you follow the jnana marga. That means if you start doing the right thing, I will be more happy to help you out. And of course, for those who doesn't have any understanding of what is right, what is wrong, maybe to set up to be disciplined enough. Maybe Swami said, just start with at least doing the whatever you do, doing it right. Like there is a service way. That's why whether we can follow service or devotion, both will lead. But to do service activity, we may not need any knowledge because you can just start there. But once you get disciplined enough, then probably you'll automatically your mind will start identifying what is right. Because yeah, I was just trying to see doing the thing right way and doing the right thing. I don't know whether confused more. I don't know. Just that. Thank you.
Okay, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Swami always gives simple examples.
Brother, one more thing. In the previous paragraph, Swami said that you see everywhere Vishnu, right? Like you see the Vishnu in everything, right? So in Karma Mark, what one sister said when the Meera was praying, then she was all the places she's saying Krishna. So Karma Marka is saying, but when you are serving people like a selfless service, you have to see God in other people and serve them. So in every markas, you have to see that, right? Not only in Yana Marka, it sounds like in everything, you have to see God in everywhere. Thank you, Saira. It's not only in Yana Marka.
Okay, very good. Swami is just calling it Jnana Yoga. So it's the same thing. It's a joining of all three. Anyway, thank you. So if there are no other comments, maybe we should go to the next slide because Swami is continuing to talk and explain this nicely. So I will ask Sister Narmada to.
Every single act of yours must be carried out with this jnana, wisdom, as its background. That awareness of the Atma will guide you in both the outmoving and indrawing paths, the pravritti marga and nivritti marga. It will not block action, but fill it with purpose and meaning. It will build up faith and moral life. It will take man to the realm of deliverance along the road of nishkama karma, the renunciation of the fruit of action, and not of action itself. For the achievement of liberation, jnana is the direct road. Therefore, it is declared to be incomparably sacred. And naturally, it follows that ignorance is undoubtedly the most despicable. See the universal in the particular. See the particular in the universal. That is the essence of jnana, said Krishna. All kshetras, bodies, fields, know only one single kshetrajna, knower of the field or body. And who is that? The Atma. That is to say, you yourself, your own self, you know this and you become a jnani. So realize that the Atma is Paramatma, creator, universal soul. That is the Vijnana, wisdom. Krishna, who is all-knowing, began to teach Arjuna this yoga in order to cast off all doubt from his mind. Arjuna, I taught this sacred jnana yoga to Surya, then it was handed over from one generation to another till Manu and Ishavaku, and from them Rajashis came to learn it. Then it got lost in the world. That ever-existing yoga had to be resorted to the world, and so I had to come.
Okay, thank you, sister. So Swami is further explaining, I think some of the questions, I think Swami has answered, that he says every act of yours must be carried out with this jnana. So that awareness, every action should be done. So Swami has introduced two new other words, pravritti marga and nivritti marga. One is outwardly focused sadhana, one is inwardly focused sadhana. And Swami is saying they will not interfere with our actions. People may think, oh, if you start going inwards, you will not act, you leave the world out. But Swami says it should not interfere. It just improves the way it is, the external actions are done. So those are some points which Swami is saying. So I will stop because Swami has introduced this Kshetrajna, the one who knows the Kshetra, the field, also here. So I will stop here. Anyone who would like to share your thoughts, please go ahead.
Sairam, I
Yes.
would like to share my experience with Swami. I never went to Balyas or any satsang, but a few years back, I had a dream and Swami said he's going to put me in school. When I went to Puttaparthi, I didn't know the meaning of the school and I was telling I'm too old to go to school. And my children said, oh, you don't want to come there, Swami, because they're in university that time. So when I came out of the mandir and there was a brother from Radio Sai and I asked this doubt and he said, oh, school mean not that, sister, it mean a knowledge. Then I kept it to myself all this time. And then we got this corona and the Zoom satsang and Swami started to put me on this. So this is how I start to get knowledge. So I thought this is really, now I at least have some kind of awareness thanks to you all. And this Nishkarma things start to come once you start talking about today's satsang. So Swami, this is how start to help me to use my intellect. Now Swami saying, you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not your sense, you are the God. See me in everything. Like he's in everywhere and everything. So I thought this is, I hope this will help everybody. So Swami came before COVID and he told me, and all this satsang and all these Zoom talks start to come. I think Swami students only first started all this Zoom. And I thought this is the good time to share how Swami's grace is flowing through all of us to use this Jnana Marka to reach him. Thank you.
Sairam, sister. Yeah, all of us are in the school. That's true. I mean, he will not let us.
Yeah, once he's in his fold, I'm sure he will take us and he say whether our loved ones who don't pray or not, he will eventually guide. But for all of us, different pathway, and at the end we will all reach him. So like he said, that's what Swami came here. See, I think Swami equal to Brahma and is equal to bliss. So just everything, seeing Swami in everything, I try to remember much of that I can. And that's what I'm telling my children too now. And thank you so much, Sairam.
Sairam, sister, Sairam. Anyone else would like to share something?
Sairam, and this might be a weird, I mean, we may have talked about it, but I just want to understand a bit more. So here we're talking about the Nishkama Karma, like, renunciation of the fruit and just focusing on the action itself. In the Karma Yoga also, Swami talked about, not expecting the fruits of the action, just doing the action itself. So you're staying. So in there, my question is that you're like you're giving your action to God and you're not expecting results from it, just doing the action. So are you there understanding that you're Atma? Because I just wanted to understand the difference between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. In Jnana, you are more, it's understanding that you are Atma, right? Realization that you are Atma itself. So what is the difference here when you're doing the karma or action? You are not, you're saying you are not the action, you are different. So I'm just trying to understand the difference here. Sorry, it's a dumb question, but
Yeah. So I just to understand the question, maybe just so that, so what you're saying, Swami is telling you are Atman, realize that you are Atman. So that is the Jnana Marga.
Yes.
Okay. Whereas Swami is also talking about Nishkama Karma.
Right.
Okay, don't have desire for the fruits, or
Right.
you renounce the fruits. So you're asking, how can they be integrated?
Yeah,
Or
I'm just trying to understand the Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga itself. In Karma Yoga also, you are not expecting the fruits of the action, right? So how is that different? And also Swami said, even the Jnanis do karma. There's nothing can happen without doing karma. So in the Jnana Marga also, you will be doing karma. So I'm trying to understand the difference there. Okay,
thank you very much for good question. So I will again open it up. I will let others share what they think. Anyone?
Bhagawan,
Yes.
I understand exactly where the Narmada's concern or the question it goes. Always we think, Jnana Marka, you have to do the renunciation. That could be maybe our perception could be wrong. That's the way we always think. If it's a Jnana Marka, we have to renunciate everything, and we have to do the tabas or something more than in the higher state. But in the karma marker, we always think whatever the service we do, they just do the service and we don't need to do anything else. But we always forget to think that when we do the karma marker too, according to Swami's teaching, Sister Narmada, she has already mentioned that even though we do the action, Swami has already said that, we shouldn't expect any fruit of the action. We just do the action, with the full faith and don't expect anything. Then you will be do the correct karma marka. And in that one, I think that is also kind of renunciation. If I give up all the fruits of the action and wholeheartedly, if I do a karma, do my action, that is also very high state of unity, karma marka, and maybe the same karma marka, it would give me the same set of unity results in the path of the spiritual ladder. Because I also, when I am doing the karma marka correctly, I also renunciate all the fruits of the action, and I certainly, I think that both it would lead to the same level of the destination and reach the goal. That's why the Jnana Marka also, you have to do some sort of the action, and the Karma Marka also, we always renunciate the fruits of the action if we do correctly the karma marka, as Swami explained. That's why I believe there's no difference. If we follow the correct path in both ways, it would reach the destination without having any difference. That's my humble opinion on this one. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Yes, Brother Tasan, please go ahead.
Brother, if two people are approaching me, the one person don't have any spiritual knowledge at all. He doesn't know meditation. He doesn't know tapas, nothing. He wants to reach the God. So I said, everyone is doing karma. Even breathing is a karma. Why don't you do your karma without any expectation of the fruit? And definitely you will be reached to the God and think you are doing God's will, and do the work perfectly. Then definitely you will reach the God. It may be take 50 years or 75 years, I don't know. But now we come to the next level, Jnana Marka. When you are doing the work without the desire, your mind is going to be calm. When the mind is calm, you can go to the next level, to the meditation. because you control your five senses already. Mind is calm. You can meditate the inner self. You can merge into the Atma. Once you merge into the Atma, you are Jnani. Then that even the intellect can you bury you sometime because of the delusion. But the light comes from Atma. That time, that Atma can burn the ignorant. So once you burn the ignorant, there won't be any more dark. That Atma will guide you in your body, in your cell, your intellect. Everything's going to be Atma. So while you are living, like Sathya Sai Baba, like Baba, you can live as a Jnani until you merge with the God. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
Saramana.
Saira.
So I'm just trying to karma bhakti jnana itself is to get a feel of that is so I will traverse in this way. When we say karma, so it is about doing action. For doing action, we need a body, we need a physical existence. So definitely, of course, it is based on the fact of nishkama karma, where we do action, but do not expect the fruits of the action. So it's a journey starting at the realm of doing the action, involving the body as a step to go to nishkama karma, or to the level of the Atman. So it is a journey where going from a bottom-up approach, I'm established, I'm not saying be established at the level of the body, but be established in the level of doing the action with the body. So it is like going to the Atman, but starting from the bottom up, so that we get to that point of nishkama karma and essence the Atman. The Jnana Marga is top down, being established in the Atmic Tattva, that I am the Atman. I do the action. So I'm just, it's like, I don't know if you were to take it like a seesaw kind thing. You're on one end giving more weightage. Of course, the ultimate thing is to establish once there is no difference, like what Brother Sitaram said of the ladder, everything being intertwined, or about the way one goes to the top of a building using a staircase, escalator, or a lift. Every time whether we use a staircase, whether we use a lift, or we use an escalator, whatever thing, we are going to some stage in our life, level floor 1 or the second floor, the third floor. So that way, whichever path we embrace, tailored to our liking, we are making some progress in our understanding of what life is, or so on and so forth. The destination remains the same. I would just say it is viewing it from which side of the mirror. So while looking into the mirror, I think it's better I stop, because I'll go the more I put it into word format, I think I'll lose. So I would say that it is just a bottom-up approach when we go from karma to jnana. We're going from the level of the body, the action, the effect, the reaction, not expecting the fruits. And from jnana, it is established at the level of the Atman and then doing the karma. It's a top down. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts?
Brother Sairam, just to add to that, Jnana Marga, you do things realizing you are not the body, you are Atma. And other two things, you didn't realize that, but you are performing your action but towards that. But Jnana Marga is with the understanding they are doing the sadhana. That's how I would define these three karmas. Thank you, Saya.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share a thing? So I think that's good. Maybe I will just make one statement, because I think I liked what Sai Satish said. It's a bottom up. See, for example, if we start doing karma and we say we have to do it with nishkama karma, now that Swami has told, when we try to do nishkama karma, until we develop jnana to some extent, we can't do it, because the desire will again and again come. You want it, so you have to offer it. Unless we cultivate jnana, it becomes impossible, because then we should say I am the Atman, then only we will not stop having desire. If we think we are the mind, we are the body, we want something, until we get over that feeling, it's very difficult to give up desire. I think so. That's what I think Sai Satish was saying. You have to work yourself up. Where a jnani, he starts somewhere there, he has reached that way, and so he can do the action without naturally he can do with nishkama karma. And I think which is what Sharon also shared. Very nice.
Thank you. That was very helpful, because that's why I asked you, because when I looked at it, it seemed as they were both intertwined, right? So how to distinguish? But I like the bottom up, top down analogy. It's really helpful. Thank you.
Sairam brother, I'll quickly add two words to this bottom up and top bottom approach. I think bottom up would be the Dvaita, top bottom would be Advaita. Okay, Sairam.
Yeah, very nice, Sairam.
Sairam Sitaram, could you please clarify your two words here?
Okay, Dvaita is like you said, sister, it is duality, right? Karma, we do everything in dual sense. That is, I am body and Swami is God. But Advaita is non-duality. That is, I and Swami are one. Not in the sense that is happening in today's world, but from within itself, we know that there is no difference between me and God. That is non-duality, right? That is Advaita. So that is how Jnana Marga is designed, and the school of thought for karma is Dvaita. And also Swami adds to that saying there is something called Visishta Advaita also, wherein you have a relationship between God and yourself, God and devotee, right? That is Bhakti Marga. Saira.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Sitaram. Thank you. Very nice. It's 4:18. Maybe we'll just go to the next slide, read it, and then leave for the day. I think we may not discuss it, but at least something for us to contemplate on.
You will not fail to notice the discrepancy of the yoga being described as ever existing and the statement that it was lost. Of course, the statement was not made without thought. The indestructible is here spoken of as having been destroyed. It is called indestructible or avyaya for two reasons. Its origins is the Veda, which is free from decline. This yoga, on account of passage of time, neglect, and disuse, was forgotten. That is to say, it disappeared, it was lost to view, it declined. The statement does not mean anything more. Bringing it into life means bringing it once again into use, not creating it ab initio. Lost to view is the sense in which the word destroyed is used in a general way. That is how you have to interpret it. For the Lord will never devise a thing that will suffer destruction.
Thank you, sister. So Swami is clarifying to us, when something is said destroyed, even dharma is destroyed or whatever. Swami is saying it is not in vogue. It means it's not, people are not practicing it, and that's why we are not seeing it. It is somewhere deep within. We have to rediscover that. I think that's what Swami is saying. And for us to rediscover, Swami has to come down to help us rediscover. I think that's the process, which is what he said in the previous slide, the last paragraph, that he taught it to Surya, it came down to Manu, Ikshvaku, and Rajarishis, but now it is lost. So I had to come again. That's what Krishna did, and that's what Swami also said he has done, to come back and make us all start learning, back to school, as Sister Sharmi was saying, so that we all learn, and this knowledge becomes in view of everyone, and in our own view it comes into being. So I think that's what it is. Anyone has something to say, please do so. So I guess it's 4:20. So if everyone is okay and no one has anything to say, we can close for today. I think that's enough for us to go and think, how do we integrate and how do we climb the ladder, all that. So I will stop here. We'll close with Samastaloka and Shanti. Saira. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Sairam. Thank you.
Sairam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sairam.